Hi, I'm Ben Gassier, and in this video I'm going to talk about how DashBoard custom panels can improve your quality and reduce your costs. Most video production facilities have a lot of equipment that you have to control. For example, you could have cameras. You could have a switcher which is being fed videos from all the cameras and deciding which is on air. You might have a video player feeding into that same switcher to play pre-recorded content. You might have lights. You might have a graphics engine like Expression to overlay graphics over top of what's on air. And you might have other equipment as well. You might be a broadcast studio where you need to control audio equipment and tally lights. Or you might be a house of worship with giant displays. Or you might be a sports stadium with ribbon boards and scoreboards and water fountains that shoot water cannons in the air whenever someone scores a goal. It doesn't matter what equipment you're using. If it's on a network, DashBoard can probably control it. But for our discussion here, we're going to use these 5 pieces of equipment. Now, each of these pieces of equipment have their own user interface, basically their own software to control it during a broadcast. And since the broadcast is live, you probably need a different person to control each of those interfaces. It's really hard to switch between interfaces in real time when you need split-second accuracy. And since there's so many people, you probably also need a director to coordinate everyone's efforts. But the reality is that you're only using a small subset of each of these interfaces during a broadcast. For cameras, you're probably only recalling 5 or 6 different shots and using a joystick for fine adjustments. For switchers, you probably only have 6 or 7 different sources for your broadcast, and perhaps a few custom controls in another interface. For the video player, perhaps you're only using 1 channel and only a few of the videos. For the lights, you may only need to control 2 of them. And for the graphics engine, you probably only need a dozen or so of the graphics for your broadcast. So everything else, everything that's being scribbled in orange, is what I call visual clutter. It's not useful for your current task of producing your show. It may be useful for other purposes at other times. Maybe it's there to help create content. Maybe it's there to monitor things you don't really care to see right now. It may be used by others during their broadcast, or maybe it's just something that's never used. In any case, it's not useful to you, and it's cluttering up your environment. Now, wouldn't it be great if we could get rid of all of this visual clutter and take all of the parts of the interface you care about and put them all in one user interface? And then we could get rid of all these other user interfaces. And that's what a DashBoard custom panel actually is. It's one single interface that controls all of your equipment. And you can now run your production just using one person instead of having a multitude of people. Now that's really powerful, but it gets even better. Because we're not limited to just the controls from each of these pieces of equipment, and we're not limited to controlling just one piece of equipment at a time, the person making this panel can create some new interfaces that can control multiple pieces of equipment. For example, our director here might create a shortcuts area and have a show start button. And when she clicks on that show start, it automatically tells the camera to go to the wide shot. It tells the switcher to show camera 1. It tells the lights to go to full brightness. And it tells the Expression to play the introduction graphics. And it's all synchronized with the right timing baked right into that button. And then we can take this shortcuts area and we can drop it right into our panel. So the result of all this is that we now have a nice, simple user interface. Most of the show can be run just by clicking some buttons here on the right. You can switch between anchors, you can play videos, you can go to the commercial just by hitting a button. And these buttons can be customized based on your production. If you're a sports stadium, well, you might have a game start and a score and a get loud button. If you're a house of worship, well, you might have a button to go to your pastor or choir or something that indicates it's time for hymns. It doesn't matter who you are. Most of your production can be done with those types of button presses. Now, you still have access to all your other controls as well. So if something goes off script or if you need to make some adjustments, you still can. So what have we gained by making this custom panel? Well, first of all, we've simplified your production. I can teach someone how to use this kind of panel in a few minutes. So if you're an organization that uses students or volunteers, they don't need a lot of training each time there's someone new. We've also increased the show quality. Each time you click on those buttons, everything is synchronized and timed appropriately. You don't have to rely on multiple people coordinating just to make something look professional. And lastly, we've reduced the costs. You can run your production using less people. Well, that concludes this video. I'm Ben Gassé, and I hope that you're now excited about using DashBoard custom panels in your production.